My name is Earl. I like fencing and playing tennis, so I've been enrolling in fencing classes just to kind of get my physical interest in doing sports and activities just to get healthy. About 3 years now. I've been competing. I most recently competed, but before I was trying to get my toes in the water to kind of just get into the sport, but not that I found it really interesting. I started doing more of it. Yeah, I competed in tennis before, and I still like to do tennis, but I found over time like something about fencing just drew me to it. Kind of about I've always been fascinated with Star Wars and doing lightsaber fighting and that sort of things, watching on the movies. But that's what I was interested in. Well, it's a combination. My former coworker competed in fencing, and she told me about it. And as I just saw some random videos on YouTube, since the Olympics were coming up at the time, that I saw clips of it, and I said, hey, maybe I want to try that. And it looks fun, it looks really exciting to do, and next thing I knew, I started to do it. Well, during one of my fencing classes, I found that as I was being a little bit more intense and competing, that I noticed that I was a little bit weaker on my left ankle, to the point where I tripped over. I had sprained it twice, even outside of fencing. And I was really concerned that after that time I wasn't really as fast or not having as fun, because I would always focus on trying to avoid falling on that ankle to not get injured again. So I was really concerned about getting sprained again. Yeah, I had sprains in tennis and sprains in when I was running before. So especially now that I was fencing, that because I was getting more sprained ankles, that is this something that was going to be a recurrent issue in the future? Well, the only physical therapy I got was when I had a car accident for my neck, but that was really more home physical therapy, so I didn't really work one-on-one with someone. But I decided to do it this time because, I saw some other my colleagues getting help with physical therapy, whether at work or in my personal life, and they found it really helpful. And I thought that maybe I'd give that a chance, because I wanted to get a more professional opinion about why am I getting these recurrent sprained ankles, and I certainly want to prevent it from happening again. I always had a respect for physical therapy. As someone who would work in the health field, that I work a lot with physical therapists, but I didn't really consider it for myself, because I thought that maybe it would, just go away or heal, on its own, or that if I just power through it or just exercise on my own, that would also improve it on its own. But I felt that even despite trying to do all of that what was preventing me from doing that or getting a little bit more improvement in my movements was that I was still feeling weak and a lot of pain in that area. So I found that after working with Dr. Shaina that, I've gained much more of a respect for physical therapy, because I think it's more based on kind of a holistic approach to the person and kind of overall, just getting better in just moving. Yeah, well, outside of sports, even though I was maybe just walking or maybe just going for a light jog or anything that involved just kind of moving around at work or just getting to places, at times I would still feel my ankle getting weak. So I felt like I was kind of making more of a concerted effort to avoid falling, as opposed to kind of just not having to think about it. But yeah, I found that just after this program, I found that being able to just move without thinking and being more mindful about just kind of enjoying things around made it much more endurable. So, well, I thought that was providing me a kind of a personalized, tailored approach to getting better. I found that my approach with Dr. Shaina was much more focused on what mattered to me the most in achieving my personal goals, which was to, compete more in fencing again, and even just to kind of have fun in doing sports in general. That was my main goal, and also kind of focusing on what can we do now to get to that goal. So I really like that personalized approach. Well, I'm going to be competing on a fencing tournament upcoming soon, and I feel like I want to keep going with fencing. And now that I've had the tools to work on getting better moving, and I think that's what I want to do. Well, my biggest takeaway is that Dr. Shaina is so professional. She's so friendly and just really knows how to, talk with patients, giving a more informed, background about what she can bring to the table with her expertise in a way that, I felt I was getting a lot of training for myself and getting better, and not just only about just healing my ankle, but just kind of having that general approach to just moving in a way that was helpful for me. Well, I just felt like just having that access to Dr. Shaina made me feel like I was able to practice on my own. But if I found that I needed help or assistance with anything in particular, any questions, that I'd have that ability to get in contact with her. But luckily, she was great in giving me a lot of tips and lessons on ways to help train myself, that it was easy enough to kind of put that together on my own, to kind of do the homework for me, and then having Dr. Shaina kind of check on me each week to see, how was it progressing. So I felt like that combination of both guidance, instruction, but also giving you that flexibility to work on your own, but at the same time, if you needed some help, that would be available. She was both, in a good way. I mean, she was nice. Again, as I said earlier, friendly, very professional. I'd recommend anyone who is interested in physical therapy, especially someone who is very concerned about whether or not their injury was going to present a risk again in the future, to work with Dr. Shaina. And I think the tough part, again, in a good way, is that it kind of helps motivate me to keep going and to kind of push for that goal to get better. And I like that aspect of being held accountable for things that you might not necessarily be aware about on your own, but at least having kind of an outside perspective on what you can do a little bit better, but at a pace that works for you. Yeah, well, I learned the hard way that that sometimes the body takes time. Takes time to heal, takes time to get better. I think giving that confidence that if you can push forward, even though you may feel kind of discouraged at times, that things will get better if you put the work into it. Well, I feel like I've gained a lot of confidence, not only just in fencing, but just to get moving. I know that I've said that over and over again, but there's something about moving that is something that we take granted for a lot of times. As someone who's worked in the office, spent a lot of time sitting, working with clients, that I didn't really, was aware about or value that moving was such an important thing to incorporate in your everyday life, because I sort of didn't want to be stiff or in pain or having a sprained ankle again, but kind of giving me the sense that I can move more freely and be confident about it. I mean, the office staff is great. Every time that I check in, they always greet, have a good day, and they're always really helpful in kind of assisting you, communicating with you about your appointments, explaining what the logistics and the costs would be, in a way that you don't feel like you would be pressured into doing something, but only if it meant kind of assisting whatever goal that you had in mind. So I felt like every single staff member I've interacted with here was really helpful and professional, so I enjoyed working with them also. I definitely would recommend HealthFit to others, because probably without getting into this program with Dr. Shaina, I probably would have still had trouble with my ankle, getting sprains again, and I haven't had a sprain or had any pain since I started the program. I mean, the pain went away so fast that that made me feel much appreciative of Dr. Shaina's work. And then the rest kind of focused on kind of getting stronger without having to be so preoccupied with pain. So I definitely would recommend it to other people, you know, whatever their physical therapy needs are, but, you know, I especially enjoyed working with Dr. Shaina.
Hey, if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification for our latest tips coming to you every week. Share this video with your family and friends. It might just make their day a little bit better. I'll see you soon.